Increase in agricultural production and productivity depends to a large extent on the availability of water. Hence, the importance of irrigation system cannot be underestimated. So for this week, we will discuss irrigation system, plan, and design. Irrigation is the artificial application of water to the soil through various systems of tubes, pumps, and sprays. Irrigation is usually used in areas where rainfall is irregular or dry times or drought is expected. There are many types of irrigation system in which water is supplied to the entire field uniformly. Irrigation water can come from groundwater, through springs or wells, surface water, through rivers, lakes or reservoirs, or even other sources such as treated wastewater or desalinated water. As a result, it is critical that farmers protect their agricultural water to minimize the potential for contamination. Our objectives are to interpret the irrigation system plan according to established procedures, to differentiate the science of irrigation systems, and to appreciate the importance of irrigation plan and design. Class, why do you think irrigation system is important to farmers? Yes, the irrigation would allow the farmers to grow more pastures and crops because they will have the ability to access water as they need it to achieve a good plant growth. Good irrigation system maximizes the benefits of fertilizer applications. Fertilizers need to be watered into the ground in order to facilitate plant growth. Furthermore, irrigation system will result in greater financial benefits as a result of more effective agricultural productivity. Class, take note of this. So the primary function of farm irrigation system is to supply crops with irrigation water in the quantities and at the time it is needed. So we will discuss today the functions of farm irrigation system. Class, as I've said earlier, the primary function of farm irrigation system is to supply crops with irrigation water in the quantities and at the time it is needed. A specific function includes diverting water from the water sources, conveying it to individual fields within the farm, distributing it within each field, and providing a means for measuring and regulating flows. Class, let's discuss the reasons for an irrigation plan. Class, a project plan enables the designer to lay out the irrigation system in the most cost-effective way. The plan is used to generate a material list and to evaluate the anticipated project costs. So the plan provides step-by-step information on system installation, information on crop spacing, sprinklers, pumping requirements, pipeline sizes, and lengths should be included on the plan. Pertinent obstructions such as roads, trees, gas, oil, water, telephone, or transmission lines must also be indicated. Specification, design standards, and work schedules as set out on plan form the basis of the contractual agreements between the installation contractor and the farmer. The plan also provides a record for future reference. It can be used for overall farm planning and identifies limits of expansion's potential. Class, let's proceed to the essential features of an irrigation plan. We have the topographic data, water source capacity, soil and crop characteristics, design parameters, and the design data. Class, first we have the topographic data. So the field shape must be accurately drawn, showing pertinent obstructions, features, and elevation details. Okay. So second, we have the water source capacity. The water supply must be clearly indicated, showing location and available capacity, depending class on the water source. A well lock or water license must accompany, of course, the irrigation plan. Irrigation reservoirs also require water management branch licensing. The third one, we have the soil and crop characteristics. So soil and crop limitations must be accounted for to reduce runoff and deep percolation by mismanagement of the irrigation system. Fourth one, we have the design parameters. So soil water holding capacity, maximum application rate, and climatic data must be used to select the correct irrigation system design. Okay? The last one, we have the design data. So the nozzle selected, the operating pressure, discharge rate, and sprinkler spacing must all be shown on the plan. The irrigation interval, set time application, and net amount applied must also be calculated. Class, let's enumerate the different designs of irrigation system. Plus, there are many different types of irrigation systems, depending on how the water is distributed throughout the field. So some common types of irrigation systems include surface irrigation. So in surface irrigation class, water is distributed over and across land by gravity. Okay, so no mechanical pump involved. It stands for a large group of irrigation methods. We also have the sprinkler irrigation. So it is a method of applying irrigation water which is similar to natural rainfall. Water is distributed through a system of pipes, usually classed by pumping. Okay? It is then sprayed into the air through sprinklers so that it breaks up into small water drops which fall to the ground. Okay? For the last one, we have the drip irrigation. Drip irrigation is the most efficient water and nutrient for growing crops. Okay? Drip irrigation involves placing tubing with emitters on the ground alongside the plants. Class, let's discuss first the surface irrigation. So surface irrigation is where water is applied and distributed over the soil surface by gravity. It is by far the most common form of irrigation throughout the world class and has been practiced in many areas virtually unchanged for thousands of years. Okay? So surface irrigation is often referred to as flood irrigation, implying that the water distribution is uncontrolled and therefore inherently inefficient. In reality class, some of the irrigation practices grouped under this name involved a significant degree of management. For example, we have the surge irrigation, okay? So surface irrigation comes in three major types. We have the basin, the furrow, and the border stream. Okay, let's discuss these three types of surface irrigation, okay, one by one. Again, class, surface irrigation consists of the following: furrow irrigation system, border irrigation system, and basin irrigation system. Class, let's proceed to the first kind of surface irrigation system. So furrow irrigation is a method of laying out the water channels in such a way where gravity plays the role of providing just enough water for suitable plants to grow. So it is usually made by the planned placement of ridges and furrows. Okay? A ridge is a part of the layout of the field class that is elevated at different angles based on the type of soil. This is actually where the plants are planted. So the furrows are the veins that let the water flow through it. Class, let's proceed to border irrigation. So border irrigation is a method of controlled surface flooding. The field to be irrigated is divided into strips by parallel dikes or border bridges, and each strip is irrigated separately. It can be used with almost any crop if site conditions are such that the needed degree of water control can be obtained. It can be used on nearly all irrigable soils, but is best suited to soils whose intake rates are neither extremely low nor extremely high. In basin irrigation, water is flooded in wider areas. It is ideal for irrigating rice class, okay? So in basin irrigation, a very high stream size is introduced into the basin so that rapid movement of water is obtained. Water does not infiltrate a lot initially. At the end class, close the water inlet to avoid the water lost in the pan. So the opportunity time difference between the upward and the downward ends are reduced. Class, let's proceed to the second type of irrigation system. So the sprinkler system is ideal in areas where water is scarce. A sprinkler system conveys water through pipes and applies it with a minimum amount of losses. So water is applied in form of sprays, okay? Sometimes simulating natural rainfall. So the difference is that this rainfall can be controlled in duration and intensity. If well-planned class, designed and operated, it can be used in sloping land to reduce erosion where other systems are of course not possible. Okay, so there are three types of conventional sprinkler system. We have the first one, the fully portable system. So the laterals, mains, submains, and the pumping plant are all portable. The system is designed to be moved from one field to another or other pumping sites that are in the same field. Okay, so the second one, we have the semi-portable system. Water source and pumping plant are fixed in location. So other components can be moved. The system cannot be moved from field to field or from farm to farm except when more than one fixed pumping plant is used. Okay, so for the third one, we have the fully permanent system. Permanent laterals, mains, submains, as well as fixed pumping plant, okay? Sometimes laterals and the main lines may be buried. The sprinkler may be permanently located or moved along the lateral. So it can be used on permanent irrigation fields and for relatively high value crops such as orchards and vineyards, okay? So, labor savings throughout the life of the system may later offset high installation costs. Now let's proceed to the third type of irrigation system. Okay, so in drip or trickle irrigation, water is applied directly to the crop. Okay, so for example, okay, the entire field is not wetted. Okay, then water is also conserved. Okay, weeds are controlled because only the places getting water can grow weed. There is also a low pressure system. Okay, there is a slow rate of water application, somewhat matching the consumptive use. Okay, so the application rate can be as low as 1 to 12 liters per hour. Okay, so there is reduced evaporation. Only potential transportation is considered. Okay, so there is no need for a drainage system. Before we end our lesson, let me leave you a quote, okay, by George Washington. He said, and I quote, "Agriculture is the most helpful, most useful, and most noble employment of a man." So that's all for today. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. Goodbye and thank you.